I was like, I can't really go hard, but I did manage to squeeze in like
I don't think you're gonna look back on this and think it's worth it.
But I mean, I did have a lot of fun. I did get to have, there are definitely a lot of days where
It's hard, dude. Bodybuilding is hella hard, So if you can just keep working harder, even if you're going slow, like if someone stops, that's when you pass them, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's what I learned at that point. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Lean and Lionhearted podcast. It's been a minute, but I'm back here, back again, and I'm back with one of my buddies, Jason Huynh. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not gonna be honest.
it's Huynh.
Yeah,
right.
but he's Vietnamese, so he's basically my brother by association.
8%.
Oh yeah, I'm 0.8% Vietnamese, by the way. I found out on 23andMe. But Jason is an IFBB pro, men's physique competitor. He's been to the Olympia 5 times now. He's lost to me once, but he has also beaten me, so I will say that. But he is my arch rival from back in the day, from what seems like it was yesterday, but it was actually 5 years ago. But Jason has climbed the ranks of the Pro League. He is a consistent top 3 competitor at any regional show. And like I said, he's been to the Olympia 5 times. So welcome, Jason.
Hi. No, man, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me again. It was fun with you and Tony last time, and I'm glad to be back. But this time I'm a lot less happy because I'm on prep and we're about 9 weeks out. So as you can see, my energy level is not as high.
But yeah, so Jason actually just got married like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks already, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Jason got married 2 weeks ago, and he's been on prep. You didn't diet for that day, right?
I kind of did. Well, coach gave me a free day, but I was like, I'm gonna be 9 weeks out, or what was that, 10 weeks out at that time, or whatever. And I was like, I can't really go hard, but I did manage to squeeze in like a couple of cheat meals in, 3 tacos and a Vietnamese gum thumb.
This guy. Yeah, man, I'm glad you didn't diet on your wedding, because I think I told you, like back when I was competing, we had these friends, they got married in the middle of prep, and they were like, oh, we're gonna diet, and like our big thing is we're gonna compete, and she's gonna have my last name and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, you kind of only get married one time. Like I don't think you're gonna look back on this and think it's worth it. And I remember telling you that, and you're like, I know, like, but the Olympia. And I was like,
Yeah.
You'll make up for it.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people tell me that too. But I mean, I did have a lot of fun. I did get to have, my lingua tacos. So it's not something I really want to go ham on anyways. Like I had my fun. It was a fun day. Looking back, I don't think I regret anything right now. It's like, it's just, and honestly, I was too busy to eat anyways.
Yeah.
I didn't really have time to just sit there and stuff my face, So I guess it worked out.
Yeah, it's funny. People don't realize like how busy you are at weddings. It's crazy. Like you think that you're just going to hang out with all of your friends and family at this expensive party that you paid for, but you usually like you're getting pulled in so many directions. There's so many different things that you have to do, pictures you have to take, and all this stuff that it's almost hard to sit down and enjoy it. Like at our wedding, we didn't eat anything. Like, wow. I know that you guys ate. I saw you eat.
Yeah, we ate a little bit.
Yeah, like we had like a traditional Asian wedding Vietnamese type thing where we had the lobster and like 8-course meal or whatever it was. I literally had the cold plate and a few spoonfuls of soup, and that was it. And then the rest was just alcohol.
Yeah, pretty much. Like for us, I think it took 3 different tries to finish one meal, because you sit there, you take a bite, and they're like, oh, we need you over here, and then we need you over there, and then you're just like running around. But it's definitely, you were not on prep or anything, right, when you got married?
Hell no. That was the year that ended up making me quit.
No way.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, I want to make sure that I'm present for my wedding. I was like, I'm only gonna get married one time. I'm paying a lot of money for this. And the time that we were gonna have the wedding was, I think it was like it was either right before or right after the Olympia or something like that. And I was like, even if I qualify, like I'm not gonna be able to like enjoy it. So I was like, well, okay, well, I'm just gonna take this year off. And then that year ended up being forever. So now I'm just retired.
Usually you start with 1 year off.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it's different. I also ended up stopping just because I left California, and in Texas, everybody I knew, nobody was a bodybuilder. So, you know, like here it's different because you have all of your friends that are in bodybuilding. Like it's normal. Like that's your everyday life. Like everybody you see is into it. Everyone that you interact with, except for your wife.
Yeah.
She's not a bodybuilder, but you know, when I was there, everyone's normal. So I'm weird for being a bodybuilder and like doing different things. And so eventually, like, because I had taken that time off, I just tried to be normal, and I just ended up being normal with everyone. And then, you know, then we decided that we want to have kids. And then at this point, I'm like, it would take so much for me to get back to where I would need to be that it wouldn't really be worth it for me, especially with having a kid, you know. I don't know if I said this on any of the previous podcasts, but we're having a baby, and he's coming anytime in the next 30 days.
Well, thanks for updating your audience.
Yeah. Well, I haven't made a podcast in like 2 months just because I had like a bunch of other stuff going on. Yeah. But now I'm committing to this. Jason's going to be a regular guest here. And yeah.
I am.
But yeah, so today I wanted to talk about something that people ask all the time, you know, like my clients or people that I'm talking to on Instagram, literally anybody that finds out that you're into fitness, they'll ask, right? And it's just, how do you stay motivated, right? And I think it would be interesting to have you on to talk about this because you're in the middle of prep right now. And yeah, you know, like this is when motivation, to most people, you would think that motivation plays a big factor when you're on prep. So I guess at this point, and then we'll maybe talk about, you know, how you stayed motivated or how you got motivated before when you were more of a beginner. But like, how do you stay motivated on an Olympia prep?
So for this one, pretty much all Olympia preps or any prep is just wanting to get better. You know, it's like as a competitor, I'm just very competitive just by nature. So that's what keeps me going. Like, there are definitely a lot of days where it'll be very challenging. You're low on energy. You're still got to get up and do your cardio. But, you know, during that cardio or during that, you know, you feel like you're tired and you're like, why am I doing this? Why do I keep going? And then it's just wanting to get better. It's like, you know, I've accomplished a lot, but I feel like I still got a lot left. And it's just like, as a competitor, that you remember, you always want to be better at the next one. Like to me, I was like, okay, yeah, I won the show in April. Yeah, but I didn't like how I really looked at that show. I know I can be better, like conditioning wise, you know. So now I'm like, I'm pushing for that conditioning for this next show to blow that package out of the water. So I guess in summary, it's just having a goal. I guess that keeps you going. So on days when you're tired, you don't want to do this anymore, you're like, no, I have this goal. I have to do this to meet that goal. You know, I guess that's what's me going right now. Not too much right now, but that's enough.
So you're just being driven by the desire to be better.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So I guess, like, go a level deeper, right? Like, what motivates you to want to be better? Like, why is that even a motivation for you?
Well, I guess it goes back to, well, we say we'll talk a little bit later, but I guess it's going back to why I started in the first place. You know, when I first started out, just like even working out, I was a really skinny kid, and I just wanted to put on some muscle so I don't get bullied around on like basketball and other sports, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
now you just get bullied for being fat.
By you mostly.
And Tony.
But yeah, man, it's like I was 119 pounds in high school.
Really?
And I was like, yeah, I was really skinny. And
How tall were you?
Huh?
How tall were you in high school?
I think it was like 5'4". 5'5", maybe around there.
So you're 5'5", 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah.
119 pounds.
119
like
pounds.
16, 17, 18?
Yeah, around there. And then I joined my first sport ever, and it happened to be wrestling. So that was that was fun, you know. And then when you're that skinny, usually guys don't get that skinny, or like at that time anyways, I had to wrestle, you know, you might have to wrestle some girls because you're just so light.
You were beating on girls when you were in high school.
I didn't get to, my friend did, but I didn't get to wrestle any girls. But yeah, and then I just like, you know, I'm tired of being skinny. I want to put on some weight. And I remember at that time, I was like, okay, maybe just like 5 pounds in a year, you know. And then my lifting goal at that time, believe it or not, was bench pressing 1 plate of 45. That was my ultimate goal. Like, I just wanted 1 plate so bad. I remember in the gym just every day, just like struggling with 25 pounds on the barbell bench press. And I remember just being so embarrassed working out next to like football players where they were repping out like 2 plates and everything. I was like, one day I'm going to get there, but I want to get to 1 plate first, you know? And then it was hard. It took forever. I had a really high metabolism. I would eat like burgers, like 3 burgers at a time at McDonald's and everything. I would not put on weight, you know?
Damn, what happened?
Father time happened. I got a lot older, but yeah, at that time it was a struggle. But then every year I was managed to put on like, you know, 2 pounds, sometimes 3, and then when I remember getting to 145, like weighing at 145, I was so happy. I was like, I think I'm becoming a man.
How old were you when you did 145?
I don't remember. I just remember the feeling.
It was 2 years ago.
But yeah, it was a very good time, man. And then that started making me believe. It's like I just want to keep getting better, you know. Just whatever the goal is, you know. Just whether putting on weight or getting to a bench press goal or putting on muscle, it's just I'm always just been driven by wanting to be better, I guess. So that's how it started, and I think I kept that till today, you know. Yeah. It started with a small, like, oh, I want to put on some muscle, don't want to be skinny anymore, and now it's like, I want to place like 15th, at least, you know, in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, what level it is having a goal is important, and just being driven by that goal. I guess it's the same at all levels.
Okay. So you just really wanted to not be small when you first started out. Like, you wanted to have some muscle.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be skinny anymore.
Like, you know? Did you want to like look big, or did you want to like feel strong?
I just didn't want to be a skinny Asian kid, to be honest.
That's tough when you're in Westminster.
Yeah. So I do see a lot of me at local gyms nowadays. I was like, damn, that used to be me. And so then I feel a lot for them when I see, you know, guys like me back then trying to put on some muscle and being at the gym. I'm like really proud when I see that. It's just, you know, I had to go through a lot and learn a lot to you know, learn the exercises, get the knowledge, and to put on that muscle.
Yeah, I mean, see, one thing that I think that people lack with the motivation is the belief that they can even do it. Right? Yeah. Because for a lot of people, they want to put on the muscle or they want to lose the fat, but they don't believe that they can do it, so they end up quitting, right? Yeah. And they know that, like, they know other people can do it, but they're not sure if they can do it. And that's kind of how I felt, you know, when I first started. I was just like, there was half of me that was like, if anybody could do it, then that means I can do it too. And then there was the other half that it was like, okay, I've been trying for so long and I haven't gotten anywhere. Yeah. Maybe this isn't for me. You know, like, maybe I'm the one that can't do it. Maybe I'm the snowflake that just doesn't have the genetics to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you ever feel like that? Oh, yeah. Like I said, like, I think the first barrier that kind of made me feel the same way as you do, like, I don't know if I can do this, was getting out of lifting 25 pounds on the bench press. Honestly, I thought I was going to stuck there for life. It's funny you laugh now, but it was bad at that time, man. I was I've been lifting for what, 3 months now, and 3 months. Yeah, no, at that time you don't know any better. Yeah. You know, like, I put so much effort into this. I've been like eating more
burgers, and like trying to like lift every day, you know. And well, I've never lifted before that, so 3 months was a long time for me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, maybe I just don't have the genetics for it. My dad is skinny, my mom is skinny, and they're small. So I don't know if I can ever be big or put on muscle like that, you know. But then I feel like after you break that first barrier, it's always, I feel like it's the hardest. Once you break that barrier, it's like, oh, I'm doing 35 pounds now, and then you start getting more motivation. You see that you actually can do it. You know, it might take a little longer, but you might need to commit a little more. You know, but once you get that first goal in, you're just so driven, and you start believing. I think once you start believing, and then it goes from there, it makes everything else easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to know, what was your goal when you were in high school?
All right. Well, first, I just like, I thought it was funny that you said 25s.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you ever met my friend Max, but
No.
oh no, you did. He was here at my baby shower.
Oh, I'm terrible with names, so
He was the white guy.
I don't think you only had one white guy at your baby shower, but
That's true. The white guy with the white polo.
I wouldn't remember. But yes, what about him?
All right. Anyways, so Max is my oldest friend, right? We've known each other since we were 5,
Yeah.
and we're 32 now.
Damn, you're old.
I know, right? I'm almost masters. Not that I'll be competing anytime soon. But yeah, so me and him, we grew up together. We were actually captains of the middle school wrestling team together.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to roll after this, I'll pin you.
Oh shit! I didn't know you wrestle. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, so we went to this place so we grew up in Foster City. It's in the Bay Area, but there's this place. It was called the JCC. It was like the Jewish Community Center. But there's a gym in there. Yeah. And so sometimes, I used to watch Rocky and Dragon Ball Z, and you just watch them, like they have so much confidence. They look good. They're like powerful. Like they're not getting pushed around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that. I want to be jacked like that. And so sometimes we would go to the JCC, but it was like $10 a day to get in, and my parents weren't going to get me a membership. So every once in a while, would scrounge up a little money and then go in there.
Yeah.
And bench press is the first thing you think you want to do, because everybody's like, I want a big ass chest. You know what I mean? I want like some titties, but like good titties, not man boobs.
That's now.
Yeah, that's now. But yeah, so we went on the Smith machine and we put the 25s on, right? And we were 12.
Yeah.
And so we were benching, and I was like, dude, I'm yacked. I'm so strong, right? And it's the Smith machine though.
Yeah.
And then we put 25s on the regular flat bench, like the bar. Bro, I picked it up and it just dropped back on me. I was like, save me.
You're like, damn, gravity's strong here.
Yeah, well, it was just like, balancing it versus like on a Smith machine was so different. And so that was just, when you said 25s, I just immediately thought of like when I got pinned underneath the 25s on the bar. But yeah, like when I was in high school, what motivated me was to feel like that, like to feel like Rocky, to feel like Goku and all of them, like to have the strength to be able to hold my own and stand my ground and not be pushed around. Because I wasn't like hella small, but I wasn't really like big either. I grew up around a lot of Polynesians, like mostly Tongans, and they're big, bro.
Yeah, big boys.
Yeah. And so when I got into high school, I was 5'6", 140. By the end, I was 5'9". Yeah, but that's still not like that tall. I mean, it's tall for Asians. So if I was in Orange County, I would have been the man.
Yeah.
But back there, when everybody's like Tongan and stuff, I was small. And so I just wanted to make sure that like I didn't feel frail. Like when I was playing football and stuff, when I hit people, I was like, I felt it. I was like small.
Yeah.
My senior year, I was 165 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah, so
that would have been a good weight for me.
Yeah, but they tried to have me play middle linebacker. I was like, dude, I'm kind of small. Yeah, I got
featherweight.
Yeah, I got hit. And they were like, maybe we should move you outside. But yeah, I wanted to have the strength to know that I couldn't be pushed around.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to look the part. Like I wanted to look jacked and aesthetic. I wanted a 6-pack. I always thought it was like the coolest shit ever when you see those guys.
Yeah.
So like that's initially when I started training, and I loved pushing myself. Like I loved lifting weights. We used to, like my senior year of football, we had this weight room at school, right? And every morning of summer, me and like 10 other guys, we would break into the weight room at 6 a.m. before practice.
Yeah.
And my coach knew, but he was like, you know, he kind of be like, he would pretend like he didn't know,
Yeah.
but then he'd be like, good shit, guys. But we would lift weights before everybody got there. Then we would run. Then we would come back and lift weights again with everybody. And then we'd go practice. And it was just like, I loved the dynamic of pushing myself, just because it's kind of like what you were saying, you know, like, I think what people are missing is recognizing that they're getting better. Because once you see yourself getting better, that self-belief creeps in, you know, like it's hard to be motivated when you think your goal is unattainable. If you never think you're going to reach the goal, it's hard to say, oh, I'm going to go through this shitty workout. It's going to hurt. I'm going to feel like I want to throw up. My arms hurt, my legs hurt, whatever. It's hard to do that when you don't see the possibility of you actually reaching your goal. But when you can recognize that, hey, I'm getting a little bit stronger today, or I look a little bit better today, and you can see that versus how far you have to go, that's what, you know, more so keeps you motivated. But yeah, when I was lifting then, it was strictly for performance, and I was hoping to get shredded. Yeah. But I didn't know anything. I was eating like trash back then, so I didn't actually get shredded.
Yeah, I think we just, back then we were young, we just think one aspect. We just need to work out hard, and then we're gonna look like a, you know, Goku or you know, something like that. But it's a lot more work than just working out, you know. Yeah. It's funny you brought that up, and then what I was thinking while we talk about that is also confidence, right? I feel like just achieving your goal, and that's whatever look you want to go for, it also, the confidence level that comes with it as well, right? And so a lot of people, I feel like, believe it or not, I guess that was part of the motivation too, to keep you motivated, because, you know, you're gaining this confidence because you're achieving something that you set out to do, and you're actually getting to that goal. And I feel like that brings a lot of confidence too, which is not, I feel like, not just bodybuilding, but everything, you know? Yeah. So, and then it just drives you, basically, once you get a little bit of taste of success, you start believing more, and then now you want more, and then you're more driven, you're more motivated, and then you want more and more, you know? It's kind of like the first bite of ice cream. So I know I think about ice cream right now.
Let's go talk about ice cream.
Yeah, 9 weeks out.
1 sec, let me check the camera.
Do you want me to set a timer?
No, I did. But there's no red dot on that one. So anyways.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like the addicting thing. Like, as soon as you get a taste, but like, you have to be able to recognize, like, I'm getting a little bit better. Yeah. But that's the most fun part about dieting down. Yeah. Especially after you get past that beginning stage where you're like fat flat. You know what I mean? Like, the beginning of prep, you get smaller because now you're eating less, and then you're still fat, and you're like, damn, I look horrible. You know? That's skinny always fat. What it looks like. That's always what it looks like. And then towards the middle of prep, like about where you're at right now, you know, you're losing 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 pounds a week, you know, sometimes depending on how you're aggressive you are. Yeah. But almost every day you're like, oh, my obliques are coming in a little bit more. My abs are a little bit deeper. I got more veins. And it's that feedback that you're like, oh, I'm on right now. I'm coming. Yeah. You know, everything is going. And that's like the exciting part, when you just see yourself progress.
Yeah. It's freaking awesome, because you mentioned it. Because just from last week to this week, I was like, ooh, I'm starting to see my abs again. I finally start looking like I lift again. You know, once you get there, you're like, oh yeah, let's go. You know, and then you start stepping a little harder on the stairs, you know, bike a little faster. It's just like, you know, when you see result, it just fires you up, I feel like. And then you just need to see it first to believe it. And then, but I think the issue, just going back to it, is nowadays is, even back then when I was younger, you were laughing because I said I lifted 3 months and I didn't see result yet. But honestly, now I feel like people expect results faster than even 3 months. Mm-hmm. You know, it takes how many days to build a habit, just a habit, and then, you know, people expect result right away. You know what I mean? And I feel like you need to give it time, and just put your head down and focus, and just keep working, and then you start seeing result come in, and then, you know, don't count the time, like how long it takes there, but, you know, once you get there, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna believe way more. You know, just got to give it some time. You know.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest downfalls of society now is social media.
Oh yeah.
I mean, social media, just like anything else, has its good and its bad parts. Like, I love social media because it connects me to so many people. You know, like, for example, there's so many people that I grew up with that I'll probably never talk to again. You know, I'll probably never say anything to them again, but I still follow them on social media because I like to see that what they're doing. Like, what are they up to? Like, how are they doing? Are you living a good life?
Yeah.
You know, like, I still want you to have a good life, even if, you know, we're not going to be hanging out or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the flip side, social media ruins a lot of people because of the comparison factor, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people compare where they are now to somebody else, but you don't know what point in someone else's journey they're at. Like, someone could compare themselves to you and say, I'm never gonna get that big. But
Yeah.
they don't know that 7 years ago, you look like them. You know?
Exactly.
But the biggest thing is just when you compare yourself to somebody else, it literally doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There's basic principles around what you have to do. You have to lift. You have to be able to contract your muscles. You have to be able to push yourself. You have to eat the right food. Yep. But at the end of the day, whatever somebody else does is for them. It's not for you. So worrying about what someone else is doing or how fast they're progressing, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if you want the result for yourself, the only thing that matters is what you have to do to get there. And it may take more time, it may take less time, but if you're focused on what everyone else is doing, you're not focused on what you have to do. And that's what gives people that disconnect, because they're comparing themselves to somebody else, or they start trying what somebody else has to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen, like, people try and do someone else's peak or someone else's diet or someone else's poses or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But like, the only thing that you need to worry about to be successful in fitness or bodybuilding or even life, right? It's just, what do you have to do? You know,
Yeah.
everyone's dealt different cards. So there's no sense in like crying about it. You just have to do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it on the head right there. Social media can be a very good motivating factor, but it also kills a lot of dreams. I feel like, you know, like comparison. Why people like, oh, I'm just gonna give up. There's no way I'm ever gonna look like that, or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, everybody have a different road to get to where they are now. You know, I mean, if you ask me, like, when I first started, if I would be an Olympian, I would tell you, hell no. You know what I mean? Because I look at pictures too, you know what I mean? We all guilty of that, I feel like. I look at pictures of Olympians back then, I was like, there's no way. Those guys are like double my size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. I just want to do my first show, get it out the way, break out the show, you know, be on stage and be done with it, kind of thing, you know, experience it once. And then, you know, I fell in love with the competitiveness, and just like the whole routine, you know, cardio, just being on a strict diet. It's a challenge for me. And honestly, if I kept comparing myself to those guys, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have continued on if I kept comparing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you go into bodybuilding with the thought that you're going to be an Olympian. Well, I think most people, most realistic people don't go in saying, you know what, this thing is interesting to me. I'm just going to be the best in the world. You know, I'm going to be one of the best in the world, and I'm going to do it in a year. But you do hear that a lot, you know. I've had people try to sign up. They're like, hey, I want to win an overall my first show. Then I want to turn pro the next show. And then I'm going to do one more show, and I'm going to go to the Olympia.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I don't think you understand how hard that is. You have to be one of the genetic elite or super far along in your journey to be able to do that. And chances are you're probably not the genetic elite, because if you knew, or if you were one of the genetic elite, the person that could go to the Olympia in 3 shows, you'd probably already know by now. People would be telling you, you wouldn't be saying, oh, I'm going to do it. People would be looking at you like, dude, you need to compete because you would crush everybody right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're just being honest with yourself. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't think there's very few sports, I think, in the world where people are like, I'm going to go from being some guy on the street to being one of the best in the world in a year. It's like only in bodybuilding, right? Like nobody goes, I'm going to pick a football up today, and next year I'm getting drafted first round. I'm going to be one of the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
And it's even more arrogant because in the Olympia, like, what is there, like 50 guys? 50 guys in the whole world.
Yeah.
and you think you're just going to be one of the 50 guys because in a year because your mom said you look handsome? Like what?
Well, my mom and my grandma. Well,
No, your grandma said you weren't. She lied to you.
yeah, but that's the. I mean, I don't want to throw any names, but I've definitely been there to witness one of those where somebody who's just signing up, and literally, I had to do a double take to make sure I was hearing things right. But he's like, "I'm ready, coach. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to make bodybuilding my life. I'm ready to be a pro. I'm ready to take over."
That's a red flag.
I was like, wait, is this just first day here at the gym?
Yeah.
It was quite young, but that mentality, I was like, and I think that was like my 3rd year in. I think I just got my pro card. And I was like, bro, if only you know how hard it was for me to get this pro card. And I was lucky to get it in my 3rd year,
Yeah.
And I was like, but how could you tell somebody like that? I don't want to kill any dreams, but it's like, hey, you want to slow down? Let's do one prep first and then go from there, kind of thing. But it just like unrealistic expectation, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to go in with an open mind, like see how this is, see how hard it is. I guess people don't understand how hard it is, just even dieting. When I first got into bodybuilding, because I lifted 12 years already before that. And then I was like, I think I know a lot about, lifting and all that stuff. And then I remember getting my diet plan from Ryan. He's like, okay, cardio 35 minutes, 3 days out of 4 days. We're going to do a carb cycle. I was like, what the heck? We have a whole cardio routine? I was like, just that alone, is just, there's a lot you don't know. Kind of thing, and there's a lot of information out there on the YouTube, but then it's like people don't cover every aspect, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. You have to experience yourself to see how it really is behind the scene, I'm sure you had to struggle a lot too during your competition, because I was watching you did a lot of show, man. You did a lot of show. Like you're before my time. We competed only a couple of times, but I've heard stories about you, and I saw how just that last season alone. I think you did 6 shows, or how many shows did you do?
Yeah, I did 6 shows.
Bro, that's crazy. Even to get your pro card, how long did it take you?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was like it was a pretty quick rise. I would say. My first show was exactly 10 years ago. So
yeah.
December 12th, 2014. That was my first show.
Damn.
And then I turned pro 2017 in July. So 2 years and 7 months or whatever.
Yeah.
I sucked the first show, got last place. I actually slouched down so I could be in a shorter class because I thought it'd give me a better chance. But I slouched down so much, I went from C to A. So I was in class A, and then I was like,
throwing tips out there now.
I was like, damn, dude, I slouched down too much, and I still got worked. I got last place.
Yeah.
And then. But my motivation was different that show. My motivation was just I want to use bodybuilding as a way to keep myself accountable to get in shape, because naturally I'm a procrastinator. I there's kind of a saying, if you give yourself, a week to clean the house, it's going to take you a week. If you give yourself 24 hours to clean the house, you clean it in 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So that's me, right? I'll take as long as the amount of time that I'm given. So I needed, at the time, bodybuilding as a way to get myself in shape. So I lost 60 pounds in 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah. And, I got on stage, and then the competitive kicked in.
Yeah.
The competitiveness kicks in, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not last place. I could do a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then I had a harder time dieting that time because I had just moved to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting 8th, and I was like, man, I'm still better than that. And so I took some time off, and that's when I signed up with Ario. And then, I started winning shows, and I was like, I sweeped the Gov Cup. So I got the novice overall and the open overall.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to USA's and got worked again. I got
different level.
Yeah, I got 13th.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I took a break, and I was burnt out. And then I went back, and I did San Jose, but I did physique and classic.
You did classic? Wow.
Yeah. Just because, one, I was like, well, if I'm going to turn pro, this is my last time I'm going to do it, because I'm never going to be up there with the classic boys. I'll be too small.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to try it. And honestly, it was way more fun. So much more fun than men's physique.
Yeah.
And so my motivation then was just to be ready early for USA's, and then I turned pro. And but like, yeah, the year that you're talking about, 2019, was the year I did 6 shows. I was on prep I was dieting down 50 out of 60 weeks that year.
Jeez.
So I went from, I think it was the week before Thanksgiving, all the way until the week before Thanksgiving 2018, all the way until December 7th 2019.
Yeah.
So I had like a 10-week break in there, but yeah, I did 4 shows in 5 weeks.
Damn,
had like
bro.
a 10-week break,
Yeah.
and then prepped again, and then we hit those last few shows together.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was, the motivation that time was different. Like at that point, like I was more comfortable like suffering, and I was like, my mindset was just, if I can outlast everyone, I'll beat them, because that's what earlier in the year showed me, because that was when we were still on a point system.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody had to compete a million times. And so when we did the 4 shows in 5 weeks, the first 2 shows I was getting worked. I was getting like, I got last, then I got 13th, then I got 13th again.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even want to do the 4th show, because I was like, what's the point, dude? Like, life sucks right now.
Yeah,
you know, I'm hurting every day. And I was dumb back then. I trained 7 days a week. I did cardio 7 days a week. I took no breaks.
Yeah. Just trying to get better than
just
everyone
trying to
else.
outwork everybody, you know, which was not the best thing to do. I would never do that again. But that was my mindset. I was like, I need the edge.
Yeah.
And so in the 2 weeks between the 3rd and the 4th show, everybody either got fat or they like dropped out.
Yeah.
Or both, you know what I mean? So like they either didn't come to the show or they got fat and then they didn't do well, right? Like I'm not going to say who I'm talking about, but he showed up to that show and he got like,
Very sad.
yeah.
Hi. That was funny.
It's okay. I still know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely happy.
Yeah. It's always like that. Well, he showed up to the show and he was fat. He got like 8th or 9th or something like that. And he didn't even crack the top 5, I don't think.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, because he ate too much. He got fat in those 2 weeks.
You got to tell me who it is after.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you who it is after. But I didn't do that, and I outlasted him. And that was when I really learned. I was like, no matter what you want to do, it doesn't matter if people are ahead of you, if they're better than you now, if they're more gifted than you. If you're willing to work just as hard, if not harder, I mean, ideally, well, let me phrase that. If you're willing to work harder and you're willing to outlast them and not give up, you will eventually beat them, because everybody gives up. The one thing that people don't account for is how mentally strong you are.
Yeah.
If you can outlast them in a diet, in prep, whatever, or in how long you're bodybuilding, you will beat them, because everybody quits. It's hard, dude. Bodybuilding is hella hard, So if you can just keep working harder, even if you're going slow, like if someone stops, that's when you pass them, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's what I learned at that point. And just what kept me motivated at that time was it was actually pretty funny. I used to like basically cry in the gym.
Wow. Tell me about this.
It sounds crazy, but like before I say this, like when you're on cardio, right? I know that you have your little spin bike and you make your little face on your videos and when you're on Instagram and you just, right? But at some point you're dying. You have no energy left. Your legs don't want to move. Everything hurts. What are you telling yourself?
Someone out there is working harder than me. Honestly, like I find stupid reason or like just any reason to motivate myself. So it's like I know who's going to be in that show and I'll be like, he's probably beating me right now.
Yeah.
He's probably doing level 10. I'm doing level 9 kind of shit, just stupid reason like that. But then it works for me, or somebody say something about, my physique or something. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but this is my time right now to prove it, And then that's when it keeps me going, especially on those days where it's like rough, It's,
just the competitiveness in you?
Yeah, it drives me through the next cardio kind of thing, Yeah.
Yeah. for me, it was like a combination of that, where I was just like, if I can just work harder, that's going to be the only thing that gives me the chance to beat them, right? And so that's kind of what I was saying earlier, right? Like, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter how they look now. The only thing that matters is what do you look on, what do you look like in the end, right? And it doesn't matter what you have to do to get on stage or to get to your goal. The only thing that matters to me is what I have to do, and what I have to do is right in front of me. And so it comes down a lot to me, to like my values and like what I think is important in my life, and like the type of person that I want to become. Like, I want to become someone that sticks to their word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Which makes it really hard to trick people.
He's got to do it.
No, like one time my boy, he was, they were having their first kid, and they asked me if I was going to come to the baby shower. I lived in San Diego. This is in, around that time. Yeah. And I think in passing, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And then when it came down to it, I wanted to like surprise them. And so I didn't tell them that I got a ticket. And I even went as far as to post videos of me training in San Diego the day I was already there. Yeah. And then he was like, hey, what time are you coming over? I was like, oh, bro, I can't make it. He goes, yeah, all right, whatever. And then he was like, nah, you told us you wouldn't miss it for the world. Sorry, I knew you were going to come. I was like, okay, well, all right. I guess I can't trick you, but that's the kind of thing that I want. That's what I want for myself. Like, and especially now that I'm having a kid, I need to be the type of person that if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And so when I was on cardio, it was like, well, are you lying to yourself? Did you say that you're going to do everything that you could possibly do, and then you're not going to do it? Yeah. Like, would I be embarrassed to tell somebody else that I quit? Yeah. Because, there's like those corny quotes where it's like, discipline is doing doing what you said you're going to do long after the mood that you said, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. But it's true, right? Like, that's the only way that you build that self-confidence, is like, I know whenever I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Yeah. And so like that was motivating me. And a big thing, which I didn't know was a thing, was visualization. Yeah. So the first time that I competed with Ariel, or that Ariel prepped me, he had me doing an hour of stairs like every day, which was horrible. Yeah. And for whatever reason, maybe it was because I was too cheap or too broke, but I didn't have headphones, and I wanted to make it hard on myself. And this is before unlimited data, right? Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to waste all my data. My family's going to kill me. The phone bill is going to be crazy. Yeah. But I would do stairs an hour a day with nothing, just me on the Stairmaster, like people watching or just being in my head. Yeah, yeah. And so what I would do was I would visualize the moment that I was on stage and they called my number out and said, Jesus Christ. Somebody called me, but I would visualize when I was on the stairs what it would be like to be standing on stage to the side, seeing the lights, like, feeling the lights on you, and them saying, and your overall winner is number 216. That was my number. But just imagining that, and imagining what it would feel like to walk out to that, to walk out and accomplish my goal, walk out and feel like everything that I've done was worth it. Yeah. And I would visualize that every day on the Stairmaster. And the craziest part was, I did accomplish the goal. I won the overall. But the crazy part was when I was on the side of the stage waiting for them to call my number, it felt exactly like I had imagined it a million times. Wow. It felt like I did it already. Yeah. Because I had thought about it so many times. So when I walked out, I was just like, hell yeah. And I was like, I did it.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. For me, I guess I just don't have the confidence like you. I'm like opposite, honestly. And what I still remember, my first year as a pro, we did like 3 shows in a row. And that was so I'm like, I'm going to turn in my contract early. So I stayed committed. Huge mistake, never doing that again. But till this day, some days I will still visualize that as well. It's just standing on the side, man. Watching somebody else fucking getting called and not you.
That's so negative.
Yeah, I just drive on negative, I guess. But, just because I remember that feeling, man, it sucked.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's horrible, man. Horrible. Yeah, to me, that's just witnessing somebody else's legacy. You're just witnessing somebody else achieving things that, you can be achieving. And that drives me. That, I mean, some days I use that as my motivation. And I remember that first off season as a pro in the gym, every time I'm about to lift, and I was like, this shit is heavy. I was like, you want to be a witness again? I'll ask myself like that, and it just drives me crazy. Like there's no worse feeling. I feel like just standing on the side watching the top 5 fighting it out, and you're just like last place. You're on the side. You don't matter. You're a cheerleader.
You're standing on the side, still having to flex so that you don't look like a fat piece of shit.
Yeah,
and you still like kind of have to smile, and you're like, God damn.
Yeah, but inside your head, like, oh damn, I'm just here, cheering them from the side, let them battle out for the win, kind of shit like that. But yeah, maybe I'll try your method this year and see how that goes.
Well, it's funny because I didn't do it because I was like, oh, I'm going to win this show.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's my goal.
Yeah, like motivation for you, right?
Yeah. But well, it wasn't like, oh, I know I'm going to do this. It was just like, if I want to win the overall, which was my goal at the time, that was my ultimate goal. I still have the email that I sent Ario. I was like, I want to win an overall. Turning pro would be cool someday.
Yeah.
And that was it, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, if I'm going to win the overall, right? Like I have to become the person that wins the overall. And so like it's funny because now that I learned like people do these like techniques and whatever, and they call it like visualization and whatever. I didn't know that at the time, but it just made sense to me. I was like, well, if I want to win the overall, I have to act like the person that would win an overall. So if that person wouldn't skip cardio, I'm not skipping cardio. If that person wouldn't skip a meal or overeat and cheat on their diet, like I'm not going to do that because it doesn't make sense for me to do something other than what I think it takes to win the overall and reach my goal and think that I'm still going to hit it. Like why? And I think that's the crazy part of people is they think like if you literally just ask anyone like, what do you think it takes to get a 6-pack? They're like, well, he probably goes to the gym a lot. He probably eats really well and, does some cardio, right?
Yeah.
But then they'll sit there with themselves and wonder like, well, I only hit 3 of my 5 workouts this week, and I cheated on my diet twice, and I only did 2 sessions of cardio, and I was supposed to do 4. I just don't know why I'm not shredded. I don't know why, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you think it takes? Like, well, doing all your workouts and your cardio and and your eating your meals. I'm like, so why do you think that you would get it if you didn't do it? I'm like, well, I'm trying really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying really hard like half the time, but like it doesn't. Trying hard is subjective, like it can be hard for you, but at the end of the day, whatever it requires for you to reach the goal is whatever it requires. You know what I mean? Like just because it's hard for you doesn't mean like that's enough to win. And I think everybody thinks that they deserve to win if they're working hard, but that's just not how it is. And so like when I was competing, when I wanted to win that overall so bad, I was just like, regardless of what is hard for me, what do I have to do to make this goal happen? And that was just like what I thought of, that and visualization, because I was like, well, so I can't expect to win this show if I'm doing dumb shit like I always do.
Yeah. So you think of it as in like it's like how you carry yourself in a way, not kind of in a cocky way, like I'm gonna win it, but more like, hey, if I want to be champ, then I got to do champ's work, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you look at someone who works hard, you're like, okay, well that makes sense why they get those results, right?
Yeah.
Like if I was one of the genetic elite and I was gonna win like on easy mode, I probably would have won my first show. I wouldn't be in my third show wondering like, oh, I hope I can do well, like,
yeah, I think at that point you already know like where you are genetically and what you have to do. I feel like that's both of us. It's like it's crazy to say like it took you 2.5 years to get your pro card is fast.
It's pretty fast.
And then, it's like some people think they just kind of come out the gate like you said and just get it right away.
Yeah.
But some people like never get it. Yeah. It's like you're not gonna wake up and be like an e-bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, not a lot of us are like that. You know what I mean? So you gotta put in the work.
Yeah. I think to me it's just like, you have to be so clear on who you want to be that you won't accept anything less, right? Like, and I think a lot of people just don't, like, kind of like you were saying in the beginning, they don't have that goal, but like they don't have that idea of who they want to be, right? Like, I want to be someone that keeps my word to myself, no matter what that is. I want to be a good example for my kid. I want him to be able to look at me and say, wow, that's possible. that's possible for me. And I know firsthand because you're my dad. Like I know you, you know, and like
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they don't believe that things are possible because they don't know anyone around them that has done that,
Yeah.
you know? And, like for you, you want to be the best version of yourself as a competitor. You want to be able to beat everyone by doing the things that they're not, you know, pushing yourself harder, longer, pause, you know, you know, pushing yourself more than they're willing to push themselves.
Yeah.
And when that is so strong, like your values are so strong to believe that, like that's you and that's who you're going to be no matter what, that's what keeps you going more than any kind of motivation. Like, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but even till this day, I would say probably 75% of days, I don't want to work out. I don't want to work out. I don't feel like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't want to run. I damn sure don't want to run. But because I set these goals, because I like feeling fulfilled when I complete something that I said that I was going to do,
Yeah.
I do them. And because I try to be a man of my word.
Yeah.
But most days, I don't want to go to the gym. I just don't.
You think part of it is too because you don't want to end up looking like a fat ass?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you doing things that you don't want to do, but you know you need to do them to look a certain way for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have a certain look you want to look, so you're making that sacrifice. Like, oh, I don't want to wake up today and go run. Oh, I don't want to wake up today and go lift. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't want to do legs with Jason again, but you do it anyways because you know you hold yourself to a certain standard and a certain look you want to keep. You know, even you're not competing anymore. You don't want to look like you let yourself go, which you kind of do, but you know.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, it goes back to the thing I was talking about with values, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to lead by example. So that means I have to show everyone that, like, that I work with or my kid or whatever, like, what's possible if you put in that work. You have to be the one, you know, like the one in your family that's different, you know, before anybody else does it, and shows everybody else that it's possible. But, like, if I'm not leading by example, then I'm just another chump, like, trying to give people advice, and they're like, you know.
You know what's
why would I
coming
listen
to
you?
my mind right now? Is this why you call out fat trainers?
Yeah, honestly, right? Well, it's just like, what are you going to teach me? Because
Yeah.
obviously what you know it's not very good,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm not saying everybody has to be shredded or anything like that, but like, if you're a fat trainer, and I'm talking about like fat,
Yeah.
like you have a belly, and it's like, if I smacked your stomach, you'd see waves in it, you know what I mean? That's a visual, but
Damn, okay.
yeah. You know what I mean, though? Like, if you have a big ass belly and you're like, hey, this is what you need to do to lose weight. It's like, is it though? It might be right, but
He might
Like-
have the method down, but not the motivation or like the example.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, but like, how are you making me feel like it's possible if you can't even do it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm giving you advice and I can't even take my own advice? That's dumb.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, how does that make you feel like it's possible for you to achieve?
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, that's why you have to, I have to live by the example that I want to set. And it's not necessarily looking a certain way. Like, I do want to look a certain way. Like, I do like looking, you know,
Yeah.
shredded and semi-jacked. I'm not that jacked anymore, but
Definitely
you know,
not jacked.
yeah, but like, that's what I want, you know,
Just
like,
healthy, right? Just like looking
yeah,
healthy.
well, I just want to give my son the tools and the example and the knowledge that I wish I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I wished I had somebody that was there to work out with me and to teach me how to play sports well and to show me how to be a better football player, or, you know, how to be jacked and not fat and self-conscious about my weight,
Yeah.
and all that stuff when I was young. Like, I wish I had someone, but
Yeah.
I didn't have that, you know? And so I don't need my son to be like a star athlete, but I want to show him that he can be one, and I want to be able to guide him and help him do that if that's something that he wants to do.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I wanted, and you know, whether he wants to or not, that's up to him. But
Yeah.
I think that gives me the best ability to give him the best life that I can think of, is to be the best version of myself, to, you know, to learn the things that, you know, help you be successful in the gym, you know, in life,
In
whatever,
life, yeah.
so that I can pass it on to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing you brought up by leading by example. It's not to talk, I mean, we're just making fun of fat trainers, but we're not like picking on them or anything. It's just
No, we're picking
leading by, okay, maybe he is. No, but it's a great point. It's like a lot of people look for like motivation, right? And then like for me, for example, like I came to Ryan because he used to be a bodybuilder and he had the knowledge, but he also led by example of how hard he worked every day, not just from in the gym, but outside the gym as well. And I learned a lot from that. I picked up from that. Imagine if you're, lazy, I don't want to get up this morning, I don't want to work out, and you go, and you're like, damn, I don't like the way I look. And then you go to somebody that's supposed to be your mentor and leading by example, but he's like looking worse than you. It's kind of hard to give you that motivation, like I can get there, kind of thing. Like, wow, it must be really hard. Even my trainers can't even do it. Like, how am I going to do it? So in a way, you kind of like look the role. Like you're trying to motivate people, you're trying to live a certain lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, I don't know, competitors, all levels, you have to lead by example. So yeah, it's just not to talk shit about fat training, just to make it clear, is the point of.
Just wait until you hear Jason off camera.
I'm talking a lot of shit after this.
No, but okay. So I said that I'm not always motivated to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that, or are you just motivated to go to the gym all the time?
Definitely, man. There are days where I was like, especially when I'm on lower carbs, I would go to the gym, sit there for 15 minutes. Like, do I really want to do this? Even when I'm off season, some days you're just like, man, it's better to just stay home and watch this movie right now. But you know what that leads to, it's always very, very easy to take that first day off. And then and guess what? The second day is going to be even easier. And then the third day is going to be easier. And then soon you'll be retired like AJ over here.
Damn.
No, it's just, once you let one day go, it's a lot easier to let the second day go, man. So, get your ass in there anyways, It's always, I can remember so many days where I'm like, man, today's going to be a really shitty leg day because leg is not my favorite right now, and then, or whatever muscle group it is, usually on a Saturday when you're not working, you have a whole day to yourself, you just want to go out and play, or just sleep in, do nothing. But then you're like dragging yourself to the gym. And then those are the days usually I find myself extra motivated when I'm at the gym finally. Like, oh, shoot, I actually got my fat ass here, And now I'm like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm just like more like energized to do shit because I actually like already passed the hardest obstacle, actually making it to the gym, So I guess from that, it's just like, the days you think might be the worst day to go to the gym might be the very good day.
Yeah, I mean, I found that too. Like the days that you don't want to go and you get yourself there.
Yeah.
I think it's just because you spend so much time psyching yourself up.
Yeah.
That once you get in there, you're like to me, it was just, I'm dead,
yep.
But I'm here. And I can only do what I can do, but I'm just going to give it my all, right? Because what else is going to happen? Like it's going to hurt. You're going to be tired.
Yeah.
But once it's done, you're like, okay, whatever, it's over now. Right?
Yeah.
And so you just give it your all. But those days that you psych yourself up to get in there, you end up you have to use aggression or whatever. But you usually have a great workout and you look sick because you are like so in the zone. And then afterwards, you're always like, damn, I'm glad I came.
Yeah.
And then you go home and die. But
but it's also very motivating for the next time you feel like that.
Yeah.
Because it gives you like, now you believe like, hey, I'm feeling like that again. But like, guess what? Remember what happened last time? So let's get there and let's do it again, and then it sucks.
Yeah. Well, to tie it all back, that's what we were saying in the beginning, right? Like the self-belief.
Yep.
The self-belief happens because you take that leap of faith one time.
Yep.
That one time that you show up to the gym when you don't want to, the one time you eat the meals that you know you're supposed to eat and you keep pushing on your diet, that you do your cardio, and then you see the result. Like once you get that feedback of when I do what I'm supposed to do and I get the right result, I should just keep doing the things I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And it just takes that one time for you to say like, look, I'm not motivated. I don't want to be here right now. I said I was going to do this. I know that this is going to get me where I want to go. I'm just gonna try this one time, and I think that's the way I approached it before. It was just, I don't know if I'm gonna last the whole prep. I don't know if I'm gonna last this whole cardio session.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna do what I can, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. And when you break it down like that, without the kind of the huge overall picture that like looms over you, where you're like getting overwhelmed by how far you have to go.
Yeah.
It becomes easier. And then you say like, all right, it's not that bad. You know, I can keep going. And then when you do that enough times, you have the confidence that says like, I can do this. Why can't I do this? You know, like that doesn't make any sense. Like I might not want to, but I can, and I can accomplish my goal. Like it's right there. And when your goal feels so close, you'll do what it takes.
Yeah. And I feel like bringing that point, I feel like I see a lot of stories where people say like, oh, one day at a time, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, it gets to the point where it is really just one day at a time.
Shit, dude. Sometimes it's like 1 hour at a time, bro.
But it get down to like 5 minute cardio at a time.
Yeah.
But it just gets easier every minute or every day. You know, people say it for a reason. You know, it's like, don't look at the big picture, because it really does get overwhelming. You know, I remember I was dying for that Texas show, and I was like, man, there are still 3 weeks left. And I was like, okay, get out of that mindset right now, because it's too much. You know, you're dying, you don't need that. I was like, okay, I'm about to knock this 30 minutes on, just 30 minutes of cardio. That's all I'm asking myself for, just 30 minutes. And then after that 30 minutes, okay, I'm done 30 minutes. Go rest. Okay, just one more back session this week, or just one chest day left, you know, or something like that. Just like one goal at a time. And then the next thing I know, show day. I already made it, you know. Almost die, but we made it. You know, it's a good point that you brought up. Just like, don't look at the overall picture sometimes, you know. Yeah. It's just focusing. And you get more confidence with every day that you accomplish. Yeah. So let's say it's been a really, really tough week, but you finish it. And then guess what? You're like, damn, that was a really tough ass week. But guess what? I conquered it, you know, and now you go into the next week super like confident, like I'm about to conquer this one too, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, it's not just people are saying it just one day at a time, but really it does work, man.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like it's why it's so important to be a person of your word, because that's where your self-confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Every time you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, that's why you're like, you have no confidence, because you don't even believe yourself when you say you're going to do stuff. If every time you said you were going to go to the gym, you didn't go to the gym, then you know you're a liar. So why would you believe yourself? Why would you have confidence that you can do whatever it is that you think you want to do when you've already proven to yourself that you're not willing to do what you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like every time that you just say, you know, I'll just do this one workout. I'll just show up. I'll just do what I got to do.
Yeah.
You know, that helps build that confidence, because you're like, you know what? I do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, man. It's great that you brought it up, because recently, not naming any names again, but I think we're both the same way. Like we say we're gonna do a show, we're gonna do it no matter what. We're gonna make it up. But I've seen so many competitors, man, just recently. It just, when they don't say they're gonna do a show, they're like, oh, just like people getting into prep even. They're like, oh, I'm gonna jump into prep this like a Monday. And you know what? And something happened that Monday. Like, you know, I'm back out. I'll do it next month. And then it's like, it's next month. And then a year later, I see those people still haven't started prep yet. You know? And it's like people that didn't say they're going to do a show. And then I asked them 2 weeks later, oh, I'm not doing that show anymore. I'm going to push it. I'm going to do the next one. Yeah, it's just giving yourself room to back out, I feel like. Once you just say, keep your words, stay committed. Like, I'm going to do this show. And I feel like no matter what it takes, you're going to make it happen, right? It's just giving yourself that deadline and that ultimate goal. Like, this is what I said I'm going to do. So I'm going to do it. Just like, you know, if you're going to do this prep, you say you're going to do this prep, you're going to start this diet this Monday, like really start it. Because if you back out and you flake on yourself, you're going to keep doing that. I feel like it builds a habit, right? It's like, oh, I said it last time, I can say it again. I'm not going to start, you know. I'm starting my prep Monday, but you know, it's okay. There's another Monday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, literally, if you can't take yourself serious and believe that you're going to do what you're supposed to do, how is anybody else supposed to believe you when you say you're going to do something?
Yeah.
Nobody does, right? And that's when you know you're a fraud. Like you're not who you say you are. That's why you're not confident. You say I'm going to do this. You say I'm going to do that. You say I'm going to do cardio. I'm going to cook my food. I'm going to, you know, start this business, whatever. But you never do it. You're just all talk. So like, no one believes you anymore.
Yeah.
And what happened when you pushed through those last 3 weeks of the Texas show?
I think I won that show.
I think you think you did.
I had some pictures. I think I won. Yeah, no, we came with my best look ever.
Yeah.
And still trying to beat that look nowadays. But yeah, man, it's sometimes the hardest prep would be, give you the greatest turnout.
Yeah. And it's the feedback you need to make sure that you keep going, and then you believe in yourself. Right?
I know. Now every day, a certain day, I was like, I'm suffering, but I was like, there's nothing compared to that prep. You know what I mean? Because I still have that belief, like, I went through this shit before.
And you took out one of your idols.
Yeah. Not naming any names. Jimmy Bowden. No, definitely, man. And also, it's just word to yourself, man. Like, let's just say I'm starting this diet. Like, I want to lose 20 pounds. I'm saying I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, how am I going to do something if I can't even commit to even starting it? Like, I'm saying I'm going to start prep, but I'm not even starting prep. Like, how am I going to get to the second goal if I can't even take the very first step? You know what I mean? You say, I want to lose freaking 15 pounds. I want to lose 10 pounds. But you can't even keep yourself to starting a prep or a diet, you know what I mean? It becomes easier to, I guess, lie to yourself if you keep flaking on yourself, like you say.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just, people get really hung up on the fact that they failed a lot of times, and they think it's embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I failed so many times, I don't want to keep telling people I'm doing this. And it's like, well, you're right. You have failed every time, but you'll be right about failing every time except the time that you commit and you follow through. So all it takes is the one time for you to not be a failure and quit, for you to see what you want to see, and then your whole life changes. Once you have that belief in yourself, everything changes, because all because you took that one step and said, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show up today, and you do it, and you take the next day, and then the next day, and you stack those days on top of each other, and then all of a sudden, you didn't fail this time. Yeah. And now you have that belief, like, I can do it. I can do this. I'm not just a failure that's embarrassed,
Yeah, I think the confidence building every day too is a brick on brick of confidence, right? You're like, I passed through the first day. Oh, shoot, second day. Now you're getting more and more confidence and more belief in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Tough life. Yeah. Nothing is easy, I guess.
Nothing that's super valuable is easy.
Yep. Yeah. Staying the same is easy.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you got some value out of it. Hopefully, you see where we're coming from with motivation, and you picked up a nugget and it somehow can help you. But if you like the show, I hope you like the show. Hit the like button. If you're on a audio platform, 5-star review only. If it's not a 5-star review, don't do it. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
I need some more carbs.